Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, I'm John and I'm back with another video on my channel, Musings of a Marine. I'd just like to thank my latest subscriber who pushed me to the 200 mark. I know that's not a lot compared to most people on this website, but nonetheless, I'll take what I can get and really appreciate any views and subscribers. So I appreciate that. It's good to know somebody's watching. But hey, I'm not here for the money. I'm here just to talk about things that are near and dear to my heart. And I've got another topic today that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And what it really boils down to is why expats or should I say military veterans, make such good expats in the Philippines. And I can speak from experience in the sense of living overseas for 2 years. I was never stationed in the Philippines like I'm sure many expats who reside in the Philippines now were. Of course, naturally, we had Clark Air Force Base and Subic Naval Base, and they were both like the two largest bases in Southeast Asia when they did exist. And of course, we had Cuby Point Naval Air Station, and I've mentioned before that some members of my squadron in Okinawa would do 6 months tours there. So, yeah, there was definitely some exposure to me about the Philippines, and I made 2 trips to the Philippines while I was stationed in Okinawa. So, the thing of it is, though, you could ask yourself, what is the attraction? Why do all these expats who served in the military want to live in the Philippines? And there's a host of reasons. So many have been touched by people who were both veterans and not veterans who live in the Philippines now. The people, the cost of living, trying to find a partner in life that isn't so hung up on feminism and man bashing and things like that. I'm not a passport bro, but I have no problem with anybody who is, let me tell you. And if I hadn't met my wife Diana here in Michigan, I might have ended up one too, and I'd be perfectly fine and don't care what anybody thinks about that. The very fact that Western women want to criticize men for going over to Southeast Asia and particularly the Philippines to find a good woman, well, that speaks ill on them, not on the men, as far as I'm concerned. But it runs a little bit deeper than that with me. And I think this might apply to other veterans who are expats in the Philippines right now. And I hope soon to become one within the next couple of years or so, because my wife and I are doing some extensive upgrades on our house in Haro in Iloilo City. And that's, the logic is, of course, if we're going to do that to our house, brand new dirty kitchen, addition on the house. And when I get over there in less than 2 months, I'll be taking videos of it to show everybody what was done. It just makes logical sense for us to live over there. I want to. I'm closer with my wife's family than with mine. Here's a classic example of that. I had a birthday recently. I turned 63. I got all kinds of birthday wishes from my wife's family, and I got a birthday wish from my sister the day after my birthday, and no one else in my family, circle, cousins, whatever, even brought it up. Now, I don't advertise my birthday on Facebook, but the fact of the matter is my nephew Baba, who I speak of frequently, and I do share the same birthday. So my wife's family is going to know when it's my birthday anyway, but it's nice to get those wishes from them. And, when your own sibling can't even remember what your birthday is, and I know all of theirs, that's kind of tells the difference, tells you the difference between Filipinos and Americans, and the importance they place on birthdays. It really wasn't a big deal to me, but I couldn't care less. I'm not going to be mad at anybody for not wishing me a happy birthday. I'd rather not think about it now sometimes when you get this age. But the biggest thing for me and living over there is this. I've said it in previous videos, but it bears repeating. The 2 most formative years of my adult life were the 2 years I spent stationed on Okinawa. I became a Marine when I graduated basic training in December 18th, 1981. I became a man when I came back from Okinawa. Things changed, and they changed rapidly, and they changed significantly. And I may have mentioned it before, one of the most obvious ones was my taste in women. No longer was I interested in the blue-eyed blonde. I was interested in the dark-haired Asian woman instead. When I was in the Marines in 1982, me and my buddies went to see this movie called Dr. Detroit. Some of you may be familiar with it. Dan Aykroyd was the star of the movie. And these 4 ladies that he was the pimp for, my favorite one was Donna Dixon, this very pretty blonde who he ended up marrying after the movie was made. And but after I came back from Okinawa, my favorite actress in that movie was the lady who played Jasmine, the Asian woman. Totally different view of that movie and the ladies in it. That's one significant thing. And I wouldn't say that I would never want to be with a Western woman, but the Asian women, and they're going to win hands down every time in the looks department, in their mentality, all of that. So that's one thing, but it goes even deeper than that. When you get so used to being in a culture different from your own and seeing things different from what you see in the United States or whatever Western country you're from, it affects you and it becomes part of you sometimes. For some guys, it didn't. They did their year in Okinawa, couldn't wait to get back to the States, didn't like it over there at all. Me, even though I wasn't one of those guys that really embraced the culture, going to coffee houses and trying to learn the language and all of that, the culture itself really, really affected me. And the last time that Diana and I went to Iloilo in 2023, I told Baba as he was driving all of us in the Jeep to our house, I said, I am home. And yes, that's how I look at it. I reside in Redford, Michigan. My home, and they say home is where the heart is. Yeah, that's Iloilo, folks, and nowhere else. And I can't wait to get back there. And I think that a lot of veterans who are expats in the Philippines might understand what I'm saying here. It's really heartfelt, and it is really something that I feel strongly about, and I'm sure they do too. And for a lot of people who join the military, and particularly the Marine Corps, we've always joked when I was in that USMC, United States Marine Corps, actually stood for Uncle Sam's Misfit or Misguided Children. And there's some truth to that, because I knew my fair share of Marines who joined the Marine Corps either because they were in legal trouble and the judge gave them that as an option, or they just wanted to get away from something. And in part, that was me too. I wanted to see part of the world. I didn't want to hang around in this little town of Richmond, Michigan that I was living in. There wasn't much to do there. Jobs were scarce. I had to get out of there, and didn't have any interest in going to college either. So I joined the Marines. I get to spend time in sunny Southern California before that state got all messed up. And then over to Okinawa, and they were easier on us over there, and my friends were staying over there. I said, I'm going to do an extra year here too. And just the impact that it had on that, on my life, really. And people might ask the question, well, then why did you come back? Well, you could blame the Marine Corps for that. I didn't want to be in the Marines anymore. Proud to have served. Best fighting force on earth, in my opinion. But just a little bit too over the top for me. I tried to re-enlist in the Air Force. Join the Air Force in the hopes that I could get stationed maybe at Clark. That was my thought. And the Air Force at that time, I don't know about now, but they weren't taking Marines. They as active duty personnel. I could only join the reserves. And I'm like, well, what good is that going to do? That's not going to get me overseas anywhere. So I didn't join at all. And maybe I could have joined the Navy, but being on a ship, just no. It didn't appeal to me at all. But I've always been a little bit different than the rest of my family. I was excited to come home, get out of the Marines, because I was always close with many of my cousins on my dad's side of the family and wanted to see them and hang out with them again. But at the same time, there was part of me that never left Okinawa. There was part of me that never left the Philippines. And I've had this unquenchable thirst to get back to the Philippines even before I met my wife, to get back over there. I got a letter in the mail not long after I got out of the Marines saying, hey, they were looking for people, veterans, to maybe serve in the Team Spirit exercise in South Korea that took place, at least when I was in. I don't know if it does anymore. I volunteered. Yeah, send me, because I loved it over there. And had a good time. I don't care we were living in tents or whatnot. We got to go in the town and party and all that good stuff. You veterans know what I'm talking about. And so it goes with the Philippines. But of course, when I went to the Philippines for the first time with Di, I discovered a Philippines I never knew. Philippines not affected by the U.S. military. I had discovered a nice family that my wife is from, and discovered nieces and nephews that I care about, that in some ways I'm closer with than the ones I have here in Michigan. It's a totally different world over there, but it's a soft landing for expats because unlike in Okinawa, people speak much better English in the Philippines, and it's much more westernized. Okinawa was pretty westernized because we had troops there for so long, but eventually they started driving on the wrong side of the road there. And who knows, someday I might want to actually drive in the Philippines. I'm hoping to actually do that on this next trip. And not in the city, but in more of the provincial area where there's not so much traffic. So there's always that part that just sticks with you. And I highly, highly doubt I'm the only veteran who feels this way about the Philippines. With all the expats that have settled there, I want to go to Bacolod someday and go to Gunny's Hamburgers there in Bacolod. Why? A gunny is a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant, and that's the person who actually put up the money to establish that business. You can feel part of the Marine Corps. You can feel part of a veteran group, and at the same time, you're in Southeast Asia, an area where part of you has never left. And it's more relatable for me to hang out with veterans than people who are not. As close as I was with my cousins that I would hang out with and my siblings, none of them spent a day in the armed forces. And me, I didn't just join the armed forces. I had to go big and join the Marine Corps, right? So I had to do the whole shebang. The toughest basic training, the worst living conditions. The Air Force guys would go to South Korea for Team Spirit and stay at hotels. We stayed in big old tents. And yeah, the living conditions weren't great, but let me tell you, I had a blast. I loved being there. And if I had met a South Korean girl or hooked up with an Okinawan girl, that would have been fine too. But something to take me back there. I said it before and I'll say it again. The first time I went back to the Philippines with Diana, and I'm sitting there in a domestic airport in Manila, and I'm sipping on a cold San Miguel, and I'm just looking up at everything, the sky and the palm trees. And I couldn't believe I was back. And I never felt so home in all my life since I've been an adult. Never felt so comfortable. I have no fear, no uncomfortableness, nothing about being in the Philippines, especially in Iloilo, a clean, nice city where the people are known for their friendliness. And that's why I want to try living there. If I don't like it, I can always come back. But the Philippines has become a part of me like I never imagined. And yeah, it started with going over there to Angeles so I could get drunk and chase bar girls. But it has evolved into something greater than that. And I just can't wait to get back. So I wanted to do this video today and touch on that because I know, like I said, I'm not the only veteran who feels this way. And though I'm not an expat, I sure have gone there a lot. Coming up in September will be my 9th trip to the Philippines. And I can't wait to get there, as I've said. And just like most of the other trips, I know I'm not going to want to come home either. I so very seldom do. Last time we were over there, our flight was delayed from Iloilo to Manila because there was a problem with one of the engines on the plane, and all I did was laugh about it. I couldn't have cared less. So I don't get back to the United States and Michigan as though I'm delayed getting back there a day or two. Who cares? It's just more time in Iloilo for me. So there it is, folks. This is something I've thought about that's near and dear to my heart. I just wanted to share it with everybody today. So thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. And I will talk to you soon. More about the trip to come. I'm planning on going to Singapore too. Man, this is going to be one of the best vacations ever. I can't wait. God bless and Semper Fi.